Look, I finally found it, senpai. I'm glad. Searching with all my effort was worth it.
Koharu poked her head out from under the sofa with all smiles, holding out the item she had finally found right in front of me. Koharu? But what Koharu's presenting to me isn't the brooch that she suggested she was looking for earlier.
Here, senpai, please accept this.
It's something small, tied with a ribbon. But it's a box that's bigger than a brooch. I remember this wrapping paper's logo. I think I saw it when we were shopping together at Onshuku, on the stall cart as we left the underground grocery store.
With this, I've become the first to give you chocolates on the 14th.
Don't tell me you. She never had a brooch to begin with. No, there was never even a lost item in the first place.
I wanted to give it to you on Valentine's Day, no matter what. Just so you know, this is the first romantic chocolates I've ever given someone.
It was just a convenient lie for her to extend our time together, even by a little, in order for her to be with me when the date changed to the 14th. Hey! It was a scheme that was far too petty, utterly meaningless, and absolutely adorable.
You'll accept it, right?
Which is why, well, not knowing exactly what sort of expression I should be making right now, I took the small box of chocolates that Koharu held out to me. Oh, you.
Ow!
And tapped the adorable and mischievous mastermind's head with the corner of the box. I'm not satisfied with only that, however. And with my right hand still holding the box, I hold her head, which could only reach my shoulder, closely to my chest. Koharu.
Haruki-senpai? That hurt. Though, it's not like I want you to stop.
She buried her face into my chest, sighing deeply. Before I realized it, both of her arms wrapped around me, drawing our bodies so close that I could feel her small breasts. Seriously, you've gotten better at lying.
My lies have gotten better? Did I manage to completely fool you, senpai?
Oh, to be honest, I thought it was weird. I was wondering what it was she was looking for that warranted missing the last train for. And the fact she was being so vague about it and kept on searching the same places multiple times. I hadn't realized her true motive by then, but I did realize that she was lying at least.
Then you're my accomplice, senpai. You still stayed with me this late even though you found out?
It's all your fault, Koharu.
I'm sorry.
And I've gotten better at overlooking her lies. I've gotten soft on myself and those around me. I can no longer put a stop to something that I know is clearly wrong. I've become the most despicable person ever. For I've betrayed someone I've already betrayed before, for the second and third time. It was my fault that you became a liar, wasn't it? Why should you apologize?
I'm sorry, Oguso-senpai.
Even so, Koharu doesn't stop apologizing. And she didn't stop looking at me with moist eyes, leaving her mouth half open as if to tease me. Koharu, when you look at me with those eyes, I can't hold myself back from betraying that person for the 4th time.
Haruki-senpai?
Koharu. When our lips separated, Koharu put on a painful smile. Her lips are covered with the mixture of our saliva, and the light in the changing room gives it an obscene shine. Hey, senpai?
That's a chocolate given with my true feelings, you know?
I know. Thank you.
I gave them to you because I really feel that way towards you, you know?
Koharu.
So, senpai, how do you intend to respond to my feelings?
Me too. We make another mistake as our mutual desires react to the fact that we didn't do anything, despite sleeping together last night. Naturally, almost spontaneously, I said, I also want you, Koharu, in my heart, as if we were communicating telepathically with each other. But, Koharu, sorry, since I didn't expect something like this, I left the ones we bought that day at home.
I'm sorry? I stole one from you?
A thin white film was visible in Koharu's moist lips. While she held it between her fingers, I noticed it indeed one of the 3 dozen that I'd bought. It appears that Koharu had already been preparing this since last night.
I lied to you, stole from you, and seduced you? I really am hopeless, huh?
Oh, all this is just far too childish, though.
Even so, I love you and how you intentionally took the bait, senpai.
After all, how can I bring myself to push her aside when she's the one being earnest with me? I wonder if the fact that we didn't end up doing it last night is related to how strong-willed Koharu is today. Is that really all there is to it? I will put it on. I'll take your pants. Let me at least do that much.
Then, let me remove your belt.
And things go pretty much as you expect from there.
It appears you're still out, so I'll just leave the food here. I think it should be alright as it's winter, but please throw it out if it smells weird. See ya! The roast beef seems to have been a success. It didn't dry out, and it came out well, even if I do say so myself. Anyway, the truth is, I made enough to feed about 10 people. After all, roast beef will surely taste better if made using a bigger piece of meat. Though, I still feel like I overdid it a little. So, well, won't you accept just a little bit? If you won't object, would it be alright if I came over to your place at about midnight after the party? If I can't, please send me a text. See ya!
What is this? This text seems to be one that's copied from a previous text, from the quotation marks it has. But I have no doubt this came from Setsuna, though I don't remember receiving it. February 14th, Monday.
Yo, Sugira,
Good morning, Ogaso.
how was your weekend? You were at work, huh? Well, I ended up enjoying myself by eating cake and meat, though I had to be sober the whole time because I wasn't allowed to drink.
I'm impressed that you can still do something like that considering you have entrance exams in a week. You really must have nerves of steel, Ogaso. What is it?
You look a bit more cheerful compared to last week.
Because I was busy with work, I didn't even have time to take a breather.
You feel better when you're busy? You really are the frugal type, aren't you, Sugira?
I guess so.
I'm glad, though. We will be graduating soon. If only we could stay at this enjoyable pace for the remaining 2 weeks.
Sorry, I have to go.
Right. It's PE now.
Yeah? I should go to the changing room?
Sorry about that. I ended up giving you quite the tight window to change.
Changing, huh?
Huh? Sugiura?
That sounds like fun.
What's the matter all of a sudden?
Did you know, Ogiso? I love sports.
Well, I do know that. I went to see your tournaments after all.
See you later.
Huh?
If everyone thinks of me that way, then I'll show them. I'll show them that I'm the bitch everyone wants me to be.
Thanks for the meal. I've received your cooking. Thanks for bringing it over. Also, I'm really sorry for not contacting you. Work has been hectic since Saturday, so I worked non-stop till late at night and went straight to bed the moment I got home. I couldn't even check my texts. That's why I didn't realize you left me a text until I received your food, Setsuna. I'm sorry if I ended up upsetting you or making you worry. Even though I've done it so many times, no matter how much time has gone by, I still haven't gotten any better at lying. It might have sounded persuasive if I had been working at the publishing company at the time. But if she were to ask what kind of unexpected problems could happen at a family restaurant, given that it doesn't even operate at night, I wouldn't be able to answer her. It's a lie that I'm going to tell because Setsuna doesn't know about the details. Choosing my words so carefully, depending on who I'm talking to, would have totally disgusted my past self. I just finished eating it. As you said, the texture and the seasoning was outstanding. It was delicious, even when it's cold. Thanks for the cake, too. And thanks for doing it every year. Lastly, since it's the actual day now, allow me to say this again. Happy birthday. My only sincere words were also my last. So they managed to alleviate my conscience a little. I'm sure Setsuna will be convinced with this text. Even if she has doubts, I don't think she'd go out of her way to verify them. But in the end, no matter how much I cover it up, it won't disappear from my mind. Nevertheless, there's been no new text from Setsuna since the day before yesterday. As I thought, was her text not successfully delivered? Or did it disappear somewhere? But if it's not the case that her text wasn't successfully delivered, then where did it disappear to? There's only one possibility. I was the first to fall asleep on Saturday night, while Koharu was still awake. My cell phone was in my room. Anyone could have used it, given that I don't have a screen lock on it or anything. Koharu? If my guess is correct, then what were you trying to do? I know that it's undoubtedly my fault you have become like this, and I won't let anyone else say otherwise. But your lies are just going too far. You don't even tell me your true intentions anymore. Your honesty, your sincerity, just where exactly has it gone? Oh, so you came, Takahiro. Why did you ditch PE?
I just don't have the time for it. My actual entrance exam is only 5 days from now, you know?
Then you didn't have to come to school. We're allowed to attend voluntarily now, after all.
I'm still the class rep, for what it's worth. Besides, I'm curious about something.
Curious about something, huh?
More importantly, I'm sorry to say that you'll have to spare me the silly banter. There was a party during the weekend, and I didn't get to make any progress, so I'm in a real pickle right now.
If someone as carefree as you thinks that, you must already be a lost cause.
Shut up!
Well, this isn't what I'd call fun and silly banter. But there's been some new sensational news going on, and it ain't no laughing matter at that.
I told you that I'm in a bad situation, so don't tempt me.
During PE earlier, the girls made a big commotion again.
What happened?
You'll probably understand soon.
What's wrong with her? Showing that off? What is she trying to do? I just don't get it at all.
Is she trying to mock us?
Then, who exactly is she trying to mock? Isn't she practically putting up a sign saying I'm a slut on her back? I never would have thought that she was such a shameless person. How was she the class rep before? She just does whatever she wants now. And we're letting someone like her give the graduation speech? Seriously? She's a disgrace to us third years. Actually, she's a disgrace to the school. A total embarrassment. I wish she'd just disappear. Seriously.
What's the meaning of this?
Well, you see, while they were undressing in the changing rooms, they saw her body was covered in hickeys.
Huh?
Back, her shoulders, her neck. There was even bite marks.
No, hang on a second.
And she apparently didn't even try to hide them, and just brazenly exposed her back while changing. It made all the girls in the changing room freeze.
We're talking about Sugiura, right?
I wonder if she's snapped because of the big rumor that's going around. Or if she's always been like that. But she's definitely poured fuel on the fire.
Well, what about Sugiura? Where is she now?
She just went home.
Only the first class is over, right?
We're allowed to attend voluntarily. No one will blame her for leaving early. However, why would she bother to come only for PE? What, did she really come for no other reason than to show all that off? But it seems that all that stuff about her stealing someone's man is the real deal. They say that there's a grain of truth in every rumor, but still.
Where are you going with this, Sugiura?
February 16th, Wednesday. Takeya. Hey, wake up. You're gonna catch a cold.
Sorry.
Here's some coffee. I made it strong.
Thank you.
Did you suddenly come uninvited saying you had something to talk about only for me to hear you snore? Our days of spring break at university began with hints of winter remaining, and we buried ourselves with part-time jobs, looking for employment, messing around, and going on dates. Of course, the first two things were what I've been doing, while the latter two are what the sleepyhead in front of me has been doing.
What is this? It's so bitter.
You could at least be awake enough to be aware of how the coffee will taste like if I make it strong.
I didn't sleep at all last night.
You stayed over at some woman's place again?
Something like that.
You know, I've already said this tons of times, but it's about time you stopped going from one girl to the next and at least settled on one. No, I'm sorry. Forget what I just said.
You didn't have to end the topic in a way that was just so easy to understand. And things aren't what you think they are. The woman I was talking about happens to be Io.
So you finally did it, Takeya!
I suddenly feel wide awake due to irritation.
No, I really meant to honestly congratulate you. Though, I'm actually more surprised, if anything.
The way you're being all wide-eyed and the way you just clapped so insincerely was the exact same reason her mother had. And it's really pissing me off.
Well, that means you're officially accepted by the parents, in a way. Although he's known her family ever since middle school, it's rather saddening to think about how easily her parents saw through him.
It's not like we talked about anything hot between us, just like you and her parents would expect. Yeah, sorry for being a guy who can't get a grip when his childhood friend is involved.
No, you didn't have to go that far. I'm sorry. Although I realize that it's not my fault, the way he lashed back at me was so hurtful that I apologized without thinking. I understand how Takeya feels, but I still can't grasp Io's feelings, which are the key to this issue. Maybe because she's a woman.
I'm being as rude as I am because it really is your fault, you know.
Huh? It was at that moment that I forgot that this really wasn't the time for me to act so carefree.
What I'm about to say is something that we ended up arguing about very badly through the entire night. Because we disagreed on whether or not we should tell you about this.
What do you mean?
Haruki, you accepted Koharu-chan, didn't you? You reciprocated her feelings, didn't you?
Yeah.
Why are you admitting it so readily? You could at least try to pass it off in some way.
I'm sorry. After all, you usually wouldn't expect to be hit in the chest by a cannon blast when you're at the back end of the battlefield, right?
How long do you intend to keep spacing out? It's nighttime already.
Yeah, is that so? By the time Takeya finishes talking, the sun has already set. I didn't pay attention to that change, however, only remaining dumbfounded as Takeya's words hammered me down.
That's all I heard. Though, even that was more than enough.
Takahiro-kun. So, there was another way for them to find out. I should have realized this. I should have considered that he and Koharu are classmates.
Neither Setsuna-chan nor Takahiro actually said anything. But to think that her university student boyfriend happens to be you, of all people.
But what could I even say, even if I had realized that? Would it have been truly appropriate of me to thoroughly ask him about a girl in your grade called Sugiura Koharu, given that he's completely convinced that I'm his older sister's boyfriend?
You're truly the worst.
Takeya's irrefutable statement stabs at me unendingly. Perhaps I could have successfully brushed it off by retorting with, "Coming from you?" if this were the usual scenario.
Your decision has brought misfortune to everyone. To Setsuna-chan, to Mini Haruki, and to yourself.
But it's impossible this time. to say the least. Not even Takeya would hurt someone to such an extent. Koharu is...
As I thought, you know nothing. Nothing about how horribly she's being treated at school, that is.
I sensed that to a certain degree, but I felt that from her pitiful cheerfulness and her whispered declarations of love through the telephone. I've noticed from the times when she would act extremely pampered when the two of us were alone, and how she would cry like a baby in the dark. I knew all along that Koharu was deeply hurt by the fact that she's had her bond with her best friend broken. Through a complicated mix of truth and misunderstandings, but I never could have imagined just how deeply it had wounded her. And I've noticed that there was something else. It's true that I knew all along, but this is Hojo High School we're talking about, right? The same school we've spent 3 years at. That carefree school? I can't deny that I took this too lightly.
This is all a result of various unfortunate circumstances coming together.
Students there are usually from wealthy families, and sometimes you'll find students like me who just want to study, or even school idols such as Setsuna.
It's a time when graduation's around the corner and everyone's feeling restless, and all of a sudden, some scandal pops out of nowhere.
I was convinced that the school was a peaceful place that would be the least likely to allow such negative emotions to exist.
And for the scandal to concern the class rep, who everyone thought was serious and caring, and how she stole her best friend's boyfriend after pretending to mediate things between them. You can't say that doesn't make an impact.
That's not true. Koharu only wanted to cheer me up.
It's because no one tried to deny it or seriously look into the matter that a mere rumor eventually became the truth.
And with that, everything made sense. Why did Koharu become a liar almost immediately? Why did she end up going forward in such a dangerous direction? She's been subjected to the absolute worst dilemma. The more sincere she tried to be with me, the more helpless she felt, and the more distant she became from her friends. In Koharu's current situation, the only hand that she could reach out to is mine, and mine alone. That's why she recklessly tugged my hand and tightly clutched my arm. It was the only way she could protect herself. It's an utterly miserable act of defiance.
I feel sorry for Koharu-chan. If you weren't the one who ended up being involved with her, I would have gone out of my way to protect her, you know?
Don't put it that way.
Then how should I put it? Your lover? Your mistress? Setsuna-chan's replacement? A hidden character in a game?
Don't screw with me! It's not Koharu's fault. Why are you saying such cruel things about her too?
Because this is the only way I can hurt you, Haruki. You'd just endure it if I were to say anything bad about you, right? And besides, it's only natural that people would talk about her like that. She can't even talk about her pain to the guy she loves, keeping everything to herself. Do you even know what this means? She thinks that's the situation she's in.
Koharu, it's because I promised that I wouldn't go out of my way to learn about what's going on. It's because I was bound by how I promised to only watch over her.
Can you two even call yourselves a couple? There's just no way you can.
I imagine that this is Koharu's attempt to put up with everything, just so she can avoid causing me any more trouble.
How come I'm the one disappointed in you? Don't you find that strange, Haruki? Our roles are supposed to be the complete opposite.
The truth is, I knew. I've been completely aware that Koharu has been considerate to me all along. Not only have I shared a physical relationship with Koharu, I ended up getting even more deeply involved with her, which caused a critical crack in the relationships between Setsuna and me.
How did both of you get into a relationship like that? Was it out of obligation, sympathy, or were you two actually serious about each other? I really can't tell.
More than anything, Koharu was afraid that I would be isolated from everyone in her stead, or end up just like her. That's why she could only isolate herself.
However, I will never accept how you handled things. Of course, I won't accept how she handled things either. There's just no way I can.
We attempted to help each other, but we only sunk deeper into the depths of the murky, bottomless pit, and our decision to join our hands together in an attempt to escape only drove us even deeper within. We could see nothing in the darkness. Neither of us knew about the condition of the other, so we could only rely on the warmth of our intertwined hands.
I'm not lying. I'm with a guy. I'm at the place of a friend from high school. Like I said, I can't be with you today. I'll call you later. When? Sorry, but I can't promise you anything. I'm in the middle of something important now. Stop acting so spoiled. Like I said, I'm in the middle of something really important. Yeah, that's right. Something more important than you for once. It's fine if you want to think of it that way. Bye. I'm hanging up. If you want to call me back, do it tomorrow.
Sorry for the interruption.
It's fine. Even while Takeya was on the phone outside on the balcony, my gaze remained fixed on the table the entire time, and I couldn't move so much as a muscle as I remained silent. I could only think about what I could do to atone for what I've done. No, to atone for what I failed to do. So, what are you two going to do?
What do you mean?
You can do whatever you want with me. I know I can't make any excuses for what I've done. I just hope that you'll leave Koharu out of this.
I've already talked about this with Io, but for the time being, we'll do nothing.
Is that all right?
We know that your relationship will ruin itself soon if we just leave you two alone.
There was no room for a rebuttal in response to Takeya's blunt statement.
We've talked about this numerous times, but after all the things I've heard from Takahiro, I can now say this with confidence. That girl is the spitting image of you.
Is that so?
She always goes out of her way to look out for others. She's too precise in her arguments. She likes to force her ideals onto others. And she thinks only about other people despite not even keeping their circumstances in mind.
Perhaps he's right, that I do fit all of those categories. Excluding the last one, that is.
That's why the two of you have things that are important to you apart from yourselves. You two have a lot of bonds that the both of you feel that you have to protect.
Everyone has something like that, right?
But the two of you absolutely won't throw those away. The two of you can't live in a world where only the two of you exist.
Putting my own situation aside, Koharu had so many people she could connect to just a few days ago. It was just something that was a given and something she could rightfully believe in. And she just couldn't keep lying to herself about those feelings forever. That's why she couldn't abandon the place she belonged to up until now so easily. She just couldn't deny the outside world, much like a certain someone did.
She's different from Toma, you know.
Why are you bringing up someone who's completely unrelated to this?
She was an innocent girl right from the start. That's why she can't be corrupted.
Answer my question.
Sooner or later. No, I imagine it won't be very long at all before she finds herself in internal strife and ends up being crushed by her own guilt.
Although Takeya is talking to me, he doesn't seem to acknowledge that I'm part of the conversation.
She won't be able to stay with you forever if things stay the way they are now. I'd say a collapse is as good as imminent.
It's as if he's merely looking at the near future, where he sees the two of us struggling so miserably. His eyes have also looked rather angry up until now. However,
you're already the worst for betraying Setsuna-chan, but you're even more horrible for not being able to help that girl.
Takeya! I really don't know if the reason Takeya is angry right now is the same reason we've been discussing up until now.
Don't talk to me right now. I'm absolutely furious at the moment.
So, that's the reason you fought with Io? Because you wanted to say these unnecessary things to me? Takeya said that he would leave the two of us alone, but he's going out of his way to declare that he'll be leaving the two of us alone right to my face. You know, you should just give me a couple of hard punches. How else are you going to face Io otherwise?
Hey, don't you know that I'm berating you right now? Why are you even worried about me?
It's clear that he just couldn't sit back and watch. More importantly, I wonder why.
What are you talking about?
I wonder why things turned out so differently between Koharu and I.
Haruki.
If only I treated Yada-san gently back then. If only I hadn't coldly refused her, despite the fact that I couldn't accept her confession, and instead properly faced her and rejected her sincerely. Koharu has lost absolutely everything, and that's happened because of me. It's just a misunderstanding on your part. Please forget about it. It all began when I made that simple statement back then. I'd undeniably acted inappropriately back then, and it was an undeniable mistake on my part. And yet why won't my friends bring themselves to abandon me?
Seriously, how can you even bring yourself to say something so embarrassing that easily? You just gave me goosebumps, you know?
Sorry. I don't think the friendships that the honest Koharu has built for herself are that frail compared to my own. I'm sure it's because there's just the slightest difference in the turn of events. A trivial yet decisive twist in friendship might have caused me to fall into her situation, and it might have caused Koharu to avoid it.
I'm hungry.
Let's eat then, shall we? I'll go make something.
I'll have a full-course meal then.
I have some leftover ramen, so if I pair it with some Chinese soup then. That's why I'm very grateful. I'm grateful that I ended up being lucky enough to have a friendship that's so kind that it's almost silly. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. Koharu and Haruki are coming together at the expense of Koharu's high school friend circle. At least Takahiro is still there for her. I feel bad for Koharu. She's going through all this strife alone. She is much like Haruki in that. If she just let Haruki help her, I think it would have turned out much better. but they are both highly independent and don't like reaching out for help, which is something I'm guilty of too. So, I know where they're coming from.